Man, I actually feel good when this camera cut on. This is pretty good. That's another sign to keep going with your calling and all that. I'm gonna let y'all get in, but this kind of like not kind of like it kind of is my Thanksgiving special. But even though I think I'm still gonna do something for y'all for Thanksgiving, for those of y'all that care and celebrate the murder of Native Americans, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm gonna let some of y'all. This is kind of early too. I'm trying something new. Maybe I get some people on here in a minute or two, or maybe not. But I'll probably give it another 30 to 45 seconds. And then I get fully in my topics. Oh man, what's up with it, Brody? What's up with it, King? Yeah, bro. I was just talking about that. Yeah, for those of y'all that's watching this back, I'm trying something different. I really want to do 3 lives a day. I want to get to a point where, the work ethic and the repetition is just like that, 3 lives a day. You feel me? Like 369. I could do one at 3 p.m. my time, wherever I'm at. You feel me? I think I can get that done. But today, let's see what time it is. I'll give it to 1:30. But yeah, we talking about the digital ID system today, bro. We kind of been talking about it. I've been trying to include it in all my lives, but the digital ID system, I just learned some new stuff. Like, it already sounded like some Mark of the Beast type of, snaz going on. But what I just learned is, oh yeah, I appreciate you, Brody. We've been working, and you feel me? We always at it. You feel me? But yeah, what I just learned though, bro, is that where the digital ID system is mandated at is that they say it's optional, but what they finna do if they pass, especially if they pass it in the UK, what you gotta do is if you don't have the digital ID system, you can't go to work. You feel me? You can't go to work, bro. You can't go to work. So that's got to be the mark of the beast. And let's see, we right at about 2 minutes. Yeah, man. I'm early. I'm trying something different. So, what I mean, I'm gonna just run it, and then everybody can always watch this back. But yeah, this is kind of like a Thanksgiving special, but it's not a Thanksgiving special. You feel me? This is just kind of like my thoughts on the digital ID system, and I just learned that they're dead serious about it, especially in the UK right now. We talked about that kind of a little bit. There's a lot of protests going on in the UK right now about the digital ID system. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We are the biggest, by the way. We're bigger than everybody, and we're monetized too. Oh my goodness, I appreciate you guys for being here today. We're talking about the digital ID system, and why does it matter? Yeah, why does it matter, guys? I think it matters is because if they're doing it in the UK, which is our parent country, you know what I mean? If they're doing it over in the UK, that means that they're gonna do it here eventually, guys. And since we know that they're gonna do it here eventually, what is it and how does it affect you, right? So it's some big old giant protests going on in the United Kingdom right now because, oh, excuse me, I got some little what's all that? I think it's my camera. But anyways, excuse me, guys. So they got a digital ID system going on in the UK. What's up with it, guys? They got a digital ID system going on in the UK, whereas they have your biometrics. You know what biometrics means? That means like my blood type, biometrics, things specific to my biome, kind of like, if I got any, if I'm allergic to any, just like everything that's really specific to me and should be confidential. They say that you have to have it. Yeah. They say that you have to have it in order to work, but it's optional if you have it though. They say, yes, they're pushing this digital ID system. They say it's optional to get it, but if you don't get it, you won't be able to work. You won't be able to earn a living. Doesn't sound very optional to me. Now, as they've been pushing this in the UK, they've been pushing this since 2000. But the former prime minister that was of the UK, I don't know his name. It probably wasn't Boris Johnson or none of them, whoever it was before them people. You know what I mean? But they had always rejected the idea because UK kind of had like some conservatives and stuff that were in charge at the time. Every time this thing got introduced, and those conservative officials, they were like, no way, Jose, we're not gonna do this. This is definitely an infringement on people's rights, etc. You know what I mean? I got some food on the way, y'all. Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely an infringe on people's rights. Yeah, no way I'm from the UK, bro. I'm not from the UK. I'm saying that our parent country, the UK, because America is kind of like a British colony, that got turned into an independent country of the British colony, but it kind of like still has lot ties and loyalists to that's a whole different conversation. But it's kind of the same thing because that's where we're at right now. Today we're in the UK with this digital ID system that they're actively pushing and stating that people need to be tracked more aggressively. And then also, if they don't have behaviors, I mean, this is from their own words. Forbes reported this. BBC. This is all these. My credentials are coming from BBC and outlets like that. Anyways, what these professionals of the digital ID system are proposing is that this is a good way to track a societal behavior. How y'all feel about that? How y'all feel about societal behavior being tracked and monitored way more than it is right now? Like, how you feel about that? So, the people in the UK, they don't like it at all. They don't like it so much that an online petition has gotten over 1 million signatures. Well, and that's probably way more. There's probably 1 million and counting. You know what I mean? But they don't like it so much that they protest it. And then they have a rule in the UK where if you get over 100,000 signatures on a legislation, then it has to go to court. It has to go to Parliament. What's up with it, Queen for them? I appreciate you being here. Yeah. If it gets over 100,000 signatures, it has to go to court. So, is it going to court? I haven't read that it's going to court. All I've read is that they're very sincere about passing this into and getting this into legislation. They're very sincere about this. Is what I have read. So, since they're very sincere about getting this into legislation, let's read precisely what they want to do, right? Because maybe it's not that bad. I already told y'all. I didn't want to pull this out. I wanted to just go off of what I know, but I just want to read it to y'all too. Just because I think it is so interesting. Welcome in, everybody. We are the biggest, by the way. I appreciate y'all being here. This is kind of like a Thanksgiving special. If you celebrate that kind of thing, you know what I mean? I don't really, that's a different conversation, genocide and whatnot. But hey, today we're talking about something that kind of got to do with authoritarianism and tyranny and stuff like that. We're talking about the digital ID system and how they're dead serious about getting that passed in the UK. And, if they do it in the UK first, the UK is kind of like the parent company to the US. And so they're going to do it here too eventually. So since we're, kind of leading down that path, let's talk about what the digital ID system is. And then what do you say? I ain't going to be working. Shit, I ain't going to be working, but I know they track through TV, phone, and computers. Also Mac and Android and Windows. Yeah, dog. I mean, everything is being used to track you if, especially if it's been built past like 2012 for sure. You know what I'm saying? Definitely probably before then, but 2012 for sure. Yeah. But don't let me get distracted real quick. Let me pull up the digital ID system and what that entails, because I think you guys would like to know. So the reason that they say it's supposed to be a good idea is because it's just a digital passport. It's just a digital driver's license. What's the problem to you? The problem is that that's all fine and dandy if it's a digital passport, a digital wallet, a digital whatever the case may be. That's all fine and dandy, and it being optional, an optional form of presenting myself, a presentation of travel, whatever the case may be. If it's optional, that's cool with me. But the way that they're presenting, and it's in the legislation, is that it's optional, but in order to work, you're gonna have to have this. So I'm not the smartest guy, guys. I'm just trying to connect some dots right here where there's obvious, conflict of interest here. If I don't get that and I can't work, doesn't that mean that it's kind of like not optional? You tell me. I'm solar, man. I'm out of here. I think out of here. You know what I mean? But I don't think it takes a genius to see that that's not an option. So, with that being the case, Again, we've gotten over 1 million signatures to petition such tyranny, but I think that we better, and we can be social justice warriors easily too, guys. You just kind of like you think like, what can I do about that? It's like the government this, the government that. One, you vote for people who have, you know who benefit everybody. That's what you kind of try to do. You know what I mean? You vote for people who benefit everybody, but at the same time too, you can send emails and stuff like that, so you can keep a digital footprint to your local politicians. Hey guys, I haven't done it personally yet, but hey, I'm thinking about doing that, especially when it comes to digital ID system and it being implemented in democracies. I don't want a digital ID system. Some of the places that already have a digital ID system, India. What else? I'm about to tell you right now. I'm about to tell you right now, bro. Digital ID mandatory. Where is digital ID? I know it's in India right now. Where is digital ID? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and whatnot, and and you are with some loved ones. If not, you're in the right place. This is the tribe. We are the biggest, by the way. We're bigger than everybody. So again, make sure y'all share and tell your mama, tell your sister, tell your aunties again, because we are the biggest. All right, so where is digital IDs system implemented? Hold on, I said implemented. Hey, Shiba. All right, it's about to tell us right here. What countries? Because that's crazy. Because we already have a form of digital ID system already, where again, we have online passports, we got online wallets, etc. But this is different. So the countries with implemented digital ID systems include Singapore, and the like digital ID system I'm talking about, where it's the right to work and etc. That's going to be Singapore, India, Estonia. I think that's in Europe. Sweden, Denmark, Canada, United Arab Emirates, and the UK. These systems vary, but generally allow citizens to access government services, manage personal information, and conduct transactions online securely. So that sounds good, right? Doesn't sound that bad, actually. Doesn't sound that bad, actually. But the digital ID that we're talking about, it's not the same. So, it's not that bad. When they say it's just for a way for you to carry, again, like a digital wallet, it's not that bad. The problem is that when you list my biometrics on there, my blood type, my tendencies, if I'm a smoker, where I work, things like that. Things are pertinent and specific to me, and you put them in my digital portfolio, and then you also trace my social patterns as well. You're keeping track of me socially and how I operate, and then also some of the you know what, I gotta play it, guys. I gotta play it because y'all can't just take my word for it. Can't just take my word for it. Digital ID has been said that they're going to make sure that the citizens that don't act right, that they keep a track on them. That's what they've been talking about, man. I gotta find it real quick. This is a good time to do this though, guys. I'm thinking about doing 3 lives a day. I'm working up to it, but I kind of like getting it out the way. Okay, here we go.
Well,
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you like 2 minutes. You know, I ain't gonna copyright too much because I mean flag the video now. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let me see. Today, is it Solo you was smoking on that unpack? Oh yeah.
Are you wearing 7 layers and still freezing your man nipples?
I had some of that swear to God.
340 GSM military
do it so you got the energy
skin
for
ready to get
3 lives a day is
in the
nothing.
wild.
You're consistent, right on. I appreciate the love, bro.
Tactical
Yeah. It ain't nothing, but it is something. I ain't gonna lie. Cause it look like, you feel me? I mean, you know, numbers still climbing and all that, but it's still like, you know, you gotta put your energy into it. And you know, it's a lot. I put a lot into that. You know, I don't try to overthink it, but you know, it's a lot as far as the preparation.
Digital ID.
But y'all check this out real quick.
It's all to improve our lives, but it's something darker, more nefarious going on. Will we be able to go to our bank without this digital ID? Will we be able to live our lives without a digital ID? Is it all about control? And where is this coming from? Where did this emerge from? My bet is some unelected globalists, but we'll get to the bottom of all of that today on the show. I'm lucky to be joined by Hakeem Anwar. He's the CEO of Above Phone. He's put together a massive.
Let me set y'all up so I ain't just showing the video.
He's been studying this perhaps more
I ain't
than
planning on
anyone
doing this too. So
over the last number of years, and has done incredible work on this. Hakeem, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Clayton. It's good to be here.
So they keep telling us we need to move to a digital ID, whether it's real ID. Maybe you could walk through maybe the different variations of these IDs that are popping up in Europe, and you know a lot of it was a test bed in Ukraine using the Dia app, and people were basically moving their full identities over to the phone. We covered that here on the show extensively, which was really a product of USAID funneling money into Ukraine as a test bed operation. But maybe you could go through some of the different variations of this move to a digital ID around the world.
So, you know, over the past few months, I've been studying programs everywhere, and there's a difference in the flavor of the programs in Asia versus the West, Europe, which try to be more democratic and progressive and interoperable. But at the end of the day, there are many different ways you can be enrolled onto this digital ID system, and a few of those, most digital ID programs encompass being able to log into many government services. So this digital ID should make it easier to do things like paying taxes and getting social welfare, right? Things that everyone loves. And so because it's a single sign-on, that also means that it's interoperable. So it can be expanded to social media. And now in the UK and in Australia with their online safety act, this is like a natural next step to do age verification, because hey, the digital ID already has a way to, and it has your age saved on there. So this is kind of where it's going. It's first going to be just for government services, but it could quickly expand to the internet at large, and then
right. So what he's talking about real quick is that, you know, what it is just, again, it's a digital wallet. Where's my wallet? It's a digital wallet. You know what I'm saying? Your ID, you feel me? Information that's pertinent and specific to you. The problem is that once you give somebody an inch, particularly these group of people that's setting this up, and again, you can hear them at their conferences and stuff when they talk amongst each other. They talk about us as if we're expendable people. We're the consumer. We're not even, you know. And a lot of these people are eugenicists, meaning they believe in population control. They believe in uplifting one race over the other. They believe in this type of stuff. And these are the people that's controlling it. So, you know, I'm gonna let them talk about it a little bit more, and then we're gonna wrap about it.
And it's also going to expand as a way companies can accept your information. I know Mexico has already made plans for this with their court system, and as well as the EU, where all companies will be required to accept digital ID as a form of identification by 2027. So it slowly starts to grow until it encompasses everything that you can do on a daily basis.
Around the world. So for employment verification, they're telling us, of course, it's about our safety, right? It's to prevent immigrants from getting jobs.
I really don't want them to play the stuff from the conference that I saw of them talking about it. I'm gonna give them another minute. I'm gonna try to look for it.
it's all about convenience. It's all about to make sure that someone's not hacking in your bank account. Like, this is your money. It's all tied to you. So it's all about protection, right? That's how they're telling us.
Yeah,
This is
supposedly
gonna
it's about our protection and safety and making our lives easier, because the people who run these programs really care about that, right? Their whole argument is right now it's really hard to manage all these different IDs you have online. You've got to remember these usernames and passwords. And so to simplify it, to reduce the amount of paper, because we need to be carbon neutral.
Tyranny will always be packaged under the guise of convenience. That's a bar. Tyranny will always be packaged under the guise of convenience. They're going to say that things are done and needed in order to benefit the people or make life easier for the people. No, that sounds good. I mean, you could argue it's innovation. Innovation is what you upgrade what's already being done, but you make it better. That's what innovation is. You know what's been innovated? Like, I got it on the way right now. Uber Eats, DoorDash, stuff like that there. You feel me? That's innovation. You feel me? That's taking already the delivery service and making it more convenient to the consumer. And I just told y'all we're consumers. We're not even people. I just told you that. So, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? What y'all think so far? Digital ID. Is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? It makes life more convenient. Let them talk a little bit more.
For all these things, that's why digital ID is very convenient. Well, it's also convenient for them too, because they're able to pool information from many different areas together. A really good example of this is Brazil's blockchain called bCadastros that they've been working on, where the digital IDs, a key to those IDs, are actually saved on this blockchain. And then there's 6 other agencies, the tax agency, the housing agency, the marriage and life agency. These are also publishing their data onto this blockchain. So it's kind of all tied together. And that way, these different offices are aware of what's going on with each other. And so it ends up in this system where if you happen to do something wrong on one of these systems, like let's say you forget to pay your taxes, or you were sued, and now this will affect everything else, and you could potentially know your digital ID. When you look at what is happening in Russia and China, which you can kind of argue they have the most mature digital ID systems in the world. Right now in Russia, I mean, this is interesting. I don't think people really know about the level of surveillance and control in Russia. But if you get called for the draft and you're on Goslugi, which is their digital ID system, then they actually have cameras in the metro and on buses that can see who you are. And because you provided them your legal ID.
Hold on. Okay, that's going on. He just said that the Russian version of the digital ID system is called Gasugi, and we all know that Russia is a communist state, right? It's communist, right? It's communist. This is dictatorship, communism. I don't know, something like that. Anyways, what he just said is that if you're on and you're registered in these places, especially in these outright tyranny type of places, you know, Putin, he gets elected, but he gets elected every single. Y'all know what's going on. He's a dictator. Anyways, what they just said is that they can track you. Facial recognition. You know who else said that? Eric Snowden. Eric Snowden said that about the United States during his WikiLeaks. They're not supposed to be doing that right now, but that's exactly what he just said. Russia has admitted to doing it though. See, you can always find the truth because these people hide the truth in plain sight. That's kind of like what I love about evil, is that they do it in plain sight. Somewhere, you know, maybe not here yet, but that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Same Black Mirror. What you talking about? But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I never heard that stated like that, but Gashigi, that's the name of the Russian digital ID system, and they taking it all the way, like he just said, if there's a draft or there's something that's mandatory for you to show up with, and you don't pull up, they can go find you. That's crazy.
ID and your biometrics, they will actually stop you and say, "Hey, where are you going? We called you for the draft, after 20 days or so." So I want people to be aware of where this is going and the sneaky ways they might be asked to enter this digital ID system. It happens when you tie your legal identity.
Oh, you said some Black Mirror shit. I couldn't read. Fried. Oh yeah. I think I've seen that before.
Your biometric. Right now, that happens kind of as a side party through banks. Banks will KYC you. Russia did the same thing where they ordered banks to do the face scanning for identity verification. And then they took the bank's biometric database and said, "Hey, now you have to provide that to us." There's two laws in 2012 and 2015, which did that. So, you kind of.
Yo! He just said that the government entities were ordering banks, because you know how you gotta take, if you go, you gotta sign up for a bank account if you want to get paid, or whatever the case may be. If you want to get a loan, you want to get something on your house, whatever the case may be, a direct deposit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go get a bank account. And so when you go take your picture, these governmental entities were using them to steal or to take the biometric data. That's crazy.
Have to know the roadmap of how we're getting there.
Yeah, I can just think about, it's terrifying in a lot of ways. The United States of America, I don't care about other countries.
Well, I gotta, hold on.
The bank's biometric database and said, "Hey, now you have to provide that to us." There's
One more time.
your legal identity with your biometric. Right now, that happens kind of as a side party through banks. Banks will KYC you. Russia did the same thing where they ordered banks to do the face scanning for identity verification. And then they took the bank's biometric database and said, "Hey, now you have to provide that to us." There's two laws in 2012 and 2015, which did that. So, you kind of have to know the roadmap of how we're getting there.
Yeah, I can just think about, it's terrifying in a lot of ways. The United States of America, I don't care about other countries. We have a right to privacy. We have a right to liberty. It's written in the preamble to our Declaration of Independence, right? We are.
You see how he said he don't care about other countries? I feel him. I'm an American. America's first as much as possible, as much as we can be. But the thing is, though, is that you gotta pay attention to other countries and how they do it and how they get down. Because if it can happen over there, it can happen over here. You dig what I'm saying? You gotta pay attention to that. Whoever it can happen to the most vulnerable or the least of us, it can always happen to us too. But I get what he's saying, though. You know what I mean? I get where he's coming from.
Endowed by our Creator with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have that liberty that's given to us by God in the United States. That's what we believe in this country. And by the way, you cannot just search our houses. You can't just come in and do whatever you want to us and have access to this information. We have a right to privacy, an expectation of privacy in the United States. And for instance, the IRS, they just rolled out a new system. I'm sure you're aware of it because we had to get enrolled to pay taxes. And they're now using this digital system where they require you to verify your biometrics with your phone.
Wow.
In order to pay your taxes. So you get the phone out and hold it up to your face, and you have to move your head around, just like you're setting up a new iPhone. Move your head around, do the whole thing, scans your face, takes pictures from, whatever, and then sends it off to the IRS. That seems to me maybe a second or third.
You know who else is doing that? DoorDash is doing that. If you want to be a DoorDash driver, different jobs are doing that during the background checks and stuff like that. What I'm getting at is that everybody is taking away from your biometrics data, and you kind of already been compromised. So what I'm saying is there even a point of pushing back on something like this when we've already had our data compromised? And if you guys watch me at all in any capacity, I always talk about how America is under attack, online attack constantly, how we get hacked in our infrastructure and stuff like that, our water systems and stuff like that. What else? Our banking systems and stuff like that. We're constantly under attack. So if this is the case, is it even worth pushing back again against something like this? I don't know. Y'all tell me.
Step in this process of them getting access to our biometrics for tracking purposes. What do you think about that?
I wasn't aware of that new onboarding, and that's really scary because we have unalienable rights in this country, and it's really sad to see them just sidestep it. But that's kind of a consequence over the past few years, and we've kind of removed the data silos from different agencies in the United States. So now that they can share data from each other with each other, and we have companies like Palantir that are more than happy to help, that this is really possible, that verifying your identity with one agency will give them the foundation to build a digital ID on. And I think it's important for people to realize that once you give your biometric identity with your legal identity, you tie them together, there's nothing else you need to do. From their side, they have the master key they need, and they can create a digital ID for you. It doesn't really matter if you use it or not. They just kind of have it sitting on the back end. So they've done this in Italy, they've done this in Denmark. And I know you don't pay that, well, in other countries aren't as important as the US, but they will take those databases and use them. Now, in the United States, so you have to worry about the IRS, which I wasn't aware of. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. You also have to worry about Real ID, which Real ID technically isn't a digital ID. It's just a standard for physical ID cards. It's an ISO family of standards, 18013. And
Okay, I think that's enough right there. But I just kind of want to show y'all that to prove a point. My bad, y'all. Kind of wanted to show y'all that to prove a point. And the point is, I want to show y'all my microwave. My bad. I can't show y'all my microwave. Yeah, look at my plain wall. It's about to be lit up though. It's about to be so lit, y'all. The point of that was, what I wanted to show y'all is that they're dead serious about it. And once you give these foreign entities an inch of your, what's the word when you go along with something? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Once you give them the, you have to agree with it. Once you give them your, dang, I can't remember it, bro. Oh man, this is bad. This reminds me of that Steve Will Do It interview. Have y'all seen that? I just watched that today. That dude was lit. I ain't lit like him, but man, I'm trying to think. Complacency? It's not complacency. Anyways, whatever word is used to say when you got to go along with something. As long as we do that with the little, they'll do a whole lot. And like we just learned, the real ID is not the same thing as the digital ID because it does not record biometrics. All the real ID does, the standard that you have to have right now if you want to fly or do anything like that. All the real ID is just, like he said, a standard of now all the cars have to look like this. They all have to have this seal. So that's also kind of in the lane of uniformity of everything and everybody kind of we're all gonna be the same. That's kind of like on the same trail, but it's not the same thing. What's the word? Digital ID. They want to record your blood type, your habits, how you vote. No. Digital ID wants to record your soul. Yeah, digital ID wants your soul. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference. And when I learned that the caveat will be you won't be able to work if digital ID is accepted as the standard, that's because that's what they're trying to do. And that's the point of this live. It's coming together. That's the point of this live, guys, is that they're trying to make digital ID the standard. And once it's the standard, meaning I only can use this. This is only acceptable. Any other forms of ID, any other traditional forms of ID, plastic, whatever the case may be, my passport, no. This is the standard. And if they get that enacted, that is the mark of the beast. Now, look, guys, I'm not an anarchist. I don't believe. I used to believe that everything was kind of leading, that we can always get led to an apocalyptic New World Order type of situation. We had 34, so you know I got to go to 40 real quick. But I'm not a apocalyptic anarchist in that sense, where I believe that we can all get led to a burning end, or that everything around the corner is meant, to hurt us. I'm not so much convinced on that. What I am, though, is very observant. And when I'm observing with this digital ID system, first the real ID, because they got to get you warmed up first. And again, real ID is not the same as the digital ID system. Real ID, all it is just a standard of the ID card itself and what it got to look like. But what I'm saying is that they warm you up, they grease you up, you know what I'm saying, real good, real tight. They grease you up real good tight, so you can get ready for the pummeling that's about to come later. That's what they do. And that's what I believe that the digital ID system is. Our digital ID system is the pummeling. I mean, it's the standard. It's what they want to make the standard in the UK, is what they're already have as the standard in places like Russia. Once everybody is put onto this tracking system, and all countries are like this, what does that sound like? It sounds like everybody's getting led to what? A new world order. So, what are you going to do about it? Again, I just talked about one way you can do. You can do a formal protest. You can send an email. You can send an email if you like. At least so you have let your local politicians know that you do not consent to a mandation of digital identification. Not even just digital identification, because we already got that. We already got digital IDs and stuff like that. You can have your passport, the information on your phone and stuff like that. But no, again, these people want to record your biometrics. They want to record your blood type. They want to have your voting habits and your sleeping habits. They want to have all this recorded, because this will also have your medical records and things like that. This will also have your police records and things like that. This will also have your tax records and things like that. And if they got access to tax records and stuff like that, geez, oh, peace. Ain't no hiding no more. You got to do them taxes. Now, unless they just don't want to act on it. You know what I mean? That's the only way that you'll get away with some shit. That's the only way. Too much control. They got all the control, bro. They got all the control, bro. But I mean, like I was kind of like alluding to when we was listening to that. We know all this. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice so this doesn't happen? And a better question, is there any way to stop it from happening? Sincerely, honestly, do you think there is? I've been thinking about this, bro. I've been pondering. I just said I'm not an anarchist. I'm not a nihilist. I don't think just all doom all the time. I'm trying not to. At least let me put it like that. I'm trying not to. I think there's hope. I'll put it like that. I think there's hope. Like the gentleman just said, whose podcast it is, our country was built off of sovereignty and liberty of separation from government. The government cannot have complete control over the people. We have the right to form a militia if we believe that the government is trying to come against or is being used to mobilize against the people. We have the right to do that. Now, is it that serious right now? You know what I mean? Is it that serious right now? Have they really done anything to show us that they can't be trusted with all of our information? Well, let me just put it to you like this. Most of the time, when your family members, your loved ones, my loved ones, are getting buried and put in the ground, their bodies, even really before they get put in the dirt like that, but sometimes they at least wait until they get put in the ground before they steal their organs. But what happens is that the process of the body being removed is done within a 48 to 72 hour time window, if not sooner. You know, that's a big old time window. But I'm just telling y'all what's true. 24 hours, 48 hours, I'm sorry, to 72 hours, the body is removed and then the organs are transferred to whatever, you know, situation that that cemetery has going on. But I say 99% of the time, the bodies aren't there in the ground. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this is because the price of life is very cheap. That's what I'm saying. The price of life is extremely cheap. And because it's so cheap, they're supposed to not have access to this information without us giving it over. That's why they keep track of our medical records and things of that nature. But if they have consent to all of this, to literally your social habits, how you vote, who you're married to, your medical records, your doctor record, that's doctor records, your doctor records, your jail records, legal records, you feel me? You know, if they have access to all of this willingly, the illusion of separation is gone. That's all I'm saying. And that's not constitutional. It's not constitutional. You hear me, boy? It's not constitutional. You know, we definitely got to start doing that. We should already be doing that to some capacity. You know, the revolution starts from your bedroom. You know what I mean? I know what you mean by that. But yeah, definitely the revolution starts from your bedroom. You know, you don't have to have a whole farm to start growing plants. You know what I mean? You don't have to go to the woods to learn how to start defending yourself. You know what I mean? You don't have to go, you know what I mean? You don't have to be a part of a militia to learn how to shoot a gun. You know what I mean? To learn how to clean it. You know what I mean? You can start small. But yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you know, that's part of what you're saying. We definitely need to be doing stuff like that. And it's kind of like the only choice though. You know what I mean? There's kind of like nothing else around that we can avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like where we're going with this shit. Like either society is still going to be where we have the illusion of control, or we about to get into some real what's that game? Urban city type of neon, all of the movies, all of the bad guy movies, all of the movies where the future is ran by AI robots and everybody's footprint is in their skin, you know, and they can scan themselves, and you know what I mean? Mark of the beast shit. That's the point of this live mark of the beast shit. And we closing in at 43, so I know I got to go to 45, but real mark of the beast shit. That's where we're headed to. Slowly but surely. Again, they like to spoon feed you a little bit before they give you what you're actually getting, because you got to get used to some shit. And we already talked about that the Constitution can change. Legally, it can change. How does it change? It change either by a 2/3 majority. Like, that's why Steve Bannon was like, you know, if we lose the midterms, we kind of lose chances on 2028, because they were trying to get Trump. They're trying to get Trump elected for a third term. You know what I mean? But it's currently it's not constitutional. However, if 2/3 of the majority and the minority vote, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be, if 2/3 come together that they want something to happen, they can change the Constitution. We just learned that. So what I'm saying is that things can change. But in order to get you used to some things, I got to spoon feed you. It's called the Baba. I don't used to say that shit. But it is called the Baba. They got to give you the Baba. And that's the bad way. The good way of getting the Baba is, you know, I'm telling you this right now, you know, but I might do some theatrics or stuff. And you know what I mean? I ain't want to do no theatrics right now, or I might wear the mask. That's the Baba. That's me giving y'all the Baba. To tell y'all the real shit. This is what they're planning on doing, people. This is what they're actively doing. They're doing it in the UK right now. And there's a 1 million signature petition for it not to be implemented as the official ID system. Because once it's official, that means everything else has to go. These plastic cards, you know what I'm saying? These things have to go. You know what I'm saying? These cars have to go. You know what I'm saying? And once those go, everything is recorded. And that's just unacceptable. Hey guys, I appreciate y'all being here. This has been a Thanksgiving special. Again, I might do something for y'all tomorrow. Y'all know how I get down. But I appreciate y'all being here. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. We are the biggest, by the way. We talked about the digital ID system, and we kind of been talking about that frequently here. But what I just learned about is that when they wanted to make it the official, when they are pushing in certain countries and certain places, it's already happening in Russia. Excuse me. But they're pushing for it in places like the UK. And the reason I keep mentioning the UK and the reason that the UK is so important to us is because the UK is our parent country, meaning we basically are a British colony. I mean, the country started off as a British colony and we had a revolution and we separated. Yeah, but we're a British colony. We can relate ourselves to the UK. If something's happening in the UK, more than likely, 99% of the time, it's going to happen over here too. So what they're having going on right now is that a million signatures of a million plus, again, they just named a million, but it's a million plus. You know what I'm saying? A million plus signatures have been raised to make sure that the digital ID system does not become the standard form of identification in the nation. Because if it becomes the standard form of identification, that means that you don't have to get it, but if you don't get it, you can't work. And that's just not okay, people. That's just not okay, people. Personal question: do you have a team? Yeah, I got a team, bro. Yeah, bro, I got a team. But yeah. If you whatever you want to know, though, I'm always looking. I need well, I don't need anything, but I'm always willing to collab. You know what I'm saying? I'm always willing to work. You already know how to get down. You already know how to hit me. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all being here. This was my. What's today? Wednesday. This is my hump day. I call it my hump day special. I don't really want to call it the Thanksgiving special because I think I got something for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I'll call this my hump day special. I hope y'all eating good, living good. I'm waiting on my food right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to holler at y'all later. And I appreciate y'all being here. Peace.